If you want to support the channel, you can use code Tablemon to get 5% off at Potent Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 20% off for your superfoods at Amaranthi. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. This video is sponsored by the Pokemon TCG deck building website PokemonCard.io. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at Tablemon. Today we're taking a look at something a little bit different, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware. Scarlet and Violet, the first set at least, is already out in Japan, and that means we already have some small tournament results, but tournament results nonetheless. Rotation has happened over there, so we're going to be taking a look at some of these decks throughout the rest of the week to take a look at how the metagame seems to be shaping and what deck lists look like now that we don't have Quick Ball and other essential cards that we have been used to for the last 3 or so years since the Sword and Shield block started. So today we're going to be taking a look at a Gardevoir EX deck. Although Gardevoir EX is not the main attacker, you'll see in a second. Let's take a look. So this is the structure of the Gardevoir EX deck. As you can see, it also features Mewtwo V Union and that nice little dog Pokemon called Houndstone. Houndstone has the attack Paying Respects, which does 80 damage, and this attack does 10 more damage for each psychic Pokemon in your discard pile. Now, as always, big thanks to Limitless TCG for the translations on their website, but Houndstone, as I mentioned, will be doing more damage the more psychic Pokemon that are available in the discard pile. Now, you do need quite a big amount in order to hit some relevant numbers. You need 20 in order to start getting in range of KOing V-Stars, and 23 and upwards in order to get KOs on VMAXs. So didn't say it was easy or easily achieved, but that's where the rest of the deck comes into play. We have the full Gardevoir EX line with the Kirlia that has the trade ability where you discard a card, you draw 2 more, so you have consistency right there. And then we also have access to the Gardevoir EX brand new card with the ability Psycho Embrace, which allows you to attach 1 basic psychic energy from the discard pile to one of your Pokemon, and then you put the damage counters on said Pokemon. Houndstone is very fragile, so it's just going to be going down very easily. You can also just attach to Gardevoir EX, which is a very bulky stage 2 Pokemon with the attack Miracle Force. That way you can power up, or you can power up your own Mewtwo Union. Each piece does count as 1 psychic Pokemon in the discard pile, but at some point you could surprise your opponent, bring it back, power it up through Gardevoir EX, and then start placing damage counters or doing extra damage with its main attacks. Now, we also have the brand new card Klefki, which has the ability Mischievous Lock, where as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, basic Pokemon in play have no abilities. And from what I've seen, Lost Box seems to still be pretty popular in Japan so far, despite not having access to Scoop Up Net. There is a brand new stadium which gives basic Pokemon free retreat or -1 retreat cost. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember exactly, but it makes Comphase easily retreat, so you can loop around to get those flower selectings, and this shuts them down along with any other basic Pokemon that have abilities such as Radiant Greninja that could be relevant. Now, your attack doing 10 damage and discarding tool cards, nothing to write home about, so it's not like this card is the end all be all destruction of Lost Box decks, because quite simply you stop their abilities, but you're not threatening anything anyways. And once you retreat into one of your main attackers, then you free them from the ability lock. So the rest of the deck is pretty standard, if you will. So you can see there's no hand disruption. Marnie is gone, hopefully forever, fingers crossed. There is still Judge, and we will see Judge in some of the other decks that I will be covering throughout the rest of the week. But one of the newer cards that is being featured is this Defiant Band. Now, when Scarlet and Violet were first announced, the Japanese Pokemon card creators said that they wanted Scarlet and Violet to have a big focus on comeback cards. That could mean the return of N, I don't know, but this is the first one in that focus on comebacks, where if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, then the attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So no more choice band specific for GXs, no more choice belt specific for Vs. Now we have defined band, which if you're behind in prizes, you get that bonus damage. If you're not behind in prizes, then you don't get that benefit. So it's a nice way to help you recover in any sort of game, which is pretty nice and should be seeing a lot of play in the near future. Now, the rest of the deck contains research to discard psychic Pokemon, excess Pokemon from your hand. You also have Peonia to make sure that you can unlock some of the Mewtwo pieces if necessary. You have Boss's Orders to target down benched Pokemon, along with Serena. Serena now being less good because you can't bring up non-rule box Vs, which there seems to be a transition towards that, where that's where Scarlet and Violet wants to take us, and you can't bring up EXs, right? And that's a very, very big deal. So I'm actually surprised that the count is not 2 Boss's Orders and 1 Serena in this particular deck. But as I mentioned, these are the very first lists that are doing well in tournaments. The metagame is still very young. It should be adapting and evolving in the near future. And I also have no way to know if this was a 4-person tournament or a 40-person tournament or a 25-person tournament or an 100-person tournament. Yeah, I really don't know which one it is. So what I do know is that this list had merit. It won a tournament, whether it's like a local tournament essentially. And I really do like the consistency that Fog, Crystal, Level Ball, and Ultra Ball offer to the deck, which is really, really nice. There's also Pokestop as a stadium of choice, which has a lot of synergy with the nice amount of item cards that the deck plays. Important to note that the defined band is now no longer, or tool cards are no longer item cards. So if you hit a defined band off of the Pokestop, you would not pick that up. Yeah, so that's very important to take note of. But it does help in discarding Psychic Pokemon, and you also benefit from having Psychic Energy in the discard pile, thanks to Gardevoir. That's not Gardevoir. Thanks to Gardevoir EX's ability, which allows you to attach basic energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon as often as you like. So a lot of synergy between all the cards. Changes that I would personally make. I feel like the pile pad is a little unnecessary, and 5 energy feels very, very low. I understand you get to recycle them through Gardevoir EX, but first you need to set up the Gardevoir EX, right? Which could be a slower-ish process. And then outside of that, we have 11, 15, 19, 23, 27, 28, 29 Pokemon. So half of our deck, almost half of our deck are Pokemon. That means we'll probably be getting a few clumped up hands, but that's where clearly I will hopefully unlock that. And research, since you play multiple copies of everything, research can go ahead and get rid of excess copies. Now, the other issue is that there's no Pokemon recovery in this deck. Therefore, if you end up discarding a Houndstone or the basic of a research, then that limits the amount of Houndstones you have access to, right? Essentially forcing you to use Gardevoir EX at some point, and also forcing you to use the Mewtwo Union at some point. So those are the hindrances. The format should feel a lot slower. I have not played it myself yet, but as you'll see in the other lists, there's setup attacks, which we haven't seen in a long time, like to attach extra energies being used. Lugia is still seeing play, but with very different and less cost-effective partners than Radiant Charizard or Amazing Rare Yveltal or Stoutland. Now it's being paired with VMAXs, as you might have seen in the beginning of the video, but we'll cover that and different Lugia variants in a different video in the future. Let me know your thoughts. I'm sure a lot of you are already thinking about post-rotation. I get questions about this all the time, so I figured it would be a good time to start covering this sort of thing. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to see more decks covered from Japan as the metagame evolves, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.